This is what makes Wout one of the world's most powerful cyclists. Early life. Van Aert was born on 15 September 1994 in Belgium, Herentals, Flanders, to Henk van Aert and Ivonne Boeckx. When his parents were asked about where Wout has inherited his traits, his father Henk replied, "Both of us, I think. We have given away the best to our Wout and are left with the surplus ourselves." Laughing heartily together. No immediate members of Wout's family were involved in bike racing. However, one of Wout's father's cousins is Dutch former professional cyclist Jos van Aert. He also rode the Tour de France 4 times, 1989 to 1992, and the Giro d'Italia, finishing 9 places higher than Greg LeMond in GC. Rik van Looy coincidentally was also born in Herentals, Flanders. He won all 5 of cycling's one-day classics, 2 world titles and the Tour de France's points classification. Early career success. Wout van Aert first made a name for himself during the 2011-12 season, when he won the junior race at the Cyclo-cross Ruddervoorde in Belgium. He continued to win regularly and finished second in the Belgian and World Junior Championships. At the start of 2013, he won the U23 Cyclo-cross Super Prestige, along with overall second place in the U23 World Cup, behind Mathieu van der Poel. Jos van Aert and Mathieu's father Adrie van der Poel had rivalry of their own through the 90s. Jos van Aert in 1992 finished 4th in GC at the Tour of Britain behind a second-placed Adrie. This wouldn't be the last time the two raced against one another. They would also do so in 1994 at the 99th National Championships Netherlands road race, with Adrie placing 11th and Jos 16th. At the start of the 2014 season, Wout started as a junior, but soon found himself in the elite category, finishing up the season with 12 more wins. Van Aert came up through the ranks with Mathieu van der Poel. Like his uncle, Van der Poel often got the better of him. Determined to improve, Van Aert sought out the mental coach Rudy Halen. "He helped me turn things round." He won his first national title and then the world title within a few months of working with Halen. He also went on to complete a Grand Slam by winning the World Cup and secure the world champion title that same season. The following season, he won 18 times and retained his Belgian and World Championship titles. In January 2018, Wout became Belgian champion for the 3rd time and finished second in the Cyclo-cross World Championships in 2019. Wout signs for Jumbo for 2020. After months of legal disputes, Wout joined Jumbo-Visma for the 2020 season. He already had a contract with the Belgian Verandas Willems-Creelan team, although the team disbanded and merged with Roompot, and Van Aert was able to void his contract to join Jumbo earlier than scheduled. Wout turned his attention to the road, winning stage 10 of the Tour de France during his very first appearance in the race. A heavy fall a few days later resulted in a career-threatening thigh and hip injury. In an interview months later, he admitted, "It turned into a career-threatening injury after an error during an operation where the surgeons missed a torn tendon." He defied medical expectations, however, and was back in cyclo-cross by the end of the year. At the 2020 Tour de France, Wout won stages 5 and 7 to go with wins at Strade Bianche, Milan-Sanremo, the Belgian Time Trial Championships, and 2 sprints in the rescheduled 2020 season, at the Tour and also at the Critérium du Dauphiné. In January 2021, Wout sealed the overall UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup Series title with a second race win of the season in Overijse, Belgium. Later in the year, he secured a silver medal in Beijing in the road race. Van Aert is an accomplished cyclo-cross rider, but he's been able to adapt very quickly to the demands of road riding. He's a great climber, too, and was used as a domestique in the 2021 and 22 Tour de France. He also won solo on the iconic Mont Ventoux stage of last year's Tour after launching an attack 11 km from the summit of the climb. In total, he now has 7 stage wins on the Tour de France. How was Wout able to adapt to the road? A high VLA max enables cyclo-cross riders to be explosive. The glycolytic energy system produces high power. This energy system burns carbohydrates. It turns glucose into lactate. While doing so, it creates energy, anaerobically. The more active this energy system is, the more lactate it produces. Therefore, the maximal lactate production flux (VLA max) of a rider tells us about the maximum ability of that rider to produce energy or power via the glycolytic energy system. My VLA max was too high. A high VLA max means that more carbohydrates are burned quickly. The glycolytic system prepares the carbohydrates to fuel the aerobic system and produces energy in doing so. An increase in VLA max will increase the amount of carbohydrates burned, limited source of fuel, and therefore decrease the amount of fat burned, unlimited source of fuel. When VLA max decreases, dashed line, an athlete will burn less carbohydrates, red line, and more fat, green line. When VLA max increases, solid line, an athlete will burn more carbohydrates and less fat. For a relatively short cyclocross race this might not be a huge problem, as Van Aert explains. However, when you burn all your carbohydrates in the first hour of a 6-hour road race, you have a serious problem. The VLA max of Wout van Aert was too high to properly switch from cyclocross season to road cycling. Lowering VLA max keeps my sugars, carbohydrates, for the final, so I don't waste them already in the beginning. A decrease in VLA max will also increase the anaerobic threshold, FTP. My high VLA max had a positive effect on peak power, but a negative effect on a high steady pace. There is an optimal VLA max for every race. Winning a race often requires a high power attack or sprint. Just because someone with a very high VLA max could benefit from decreasing it, does not mean everybody should aim for the lowest VLA max possible. You need a minimum VLA max to win a race. Wout van Aert implemented workouts that target a decrease in VLA max. Fat max training involves 4 uphill repetitions of 20 minutes around 350 watts, 3 minis on high cadence, 2 minutes on low cadence. Wout's coach on the likelihood of him winning the Tour. Wielerflits asked Van Aert's coach, Mark Lamberts, about his opinion on the possibility. He explained, "If you look purely at power, Wout is just as strong as, for example, Greg van Avermaet. And he pedals the same power as Svan Markey. But will he still achieve that power after 250 kilometers? This may be feasible in the long run, but it will take time," he said. For the question, can Wout van Aert win the Tour de France one day, Lamberts is clear. Top 10, that's possible. But he cannot win the Tour. Unless there are no steep uphill finishes and the Tour stays away from the high mountains. However, Lamberts explains that a normal preparation would not be enough, as Van Aert's body composition is not that of a climber, and would have to undergo serious changes if he were ever to be in a true battle for a Grand Tour. There is about 0.6 watts per kilogram of body weight difference between Wout's threshold and the threshold of the best classification riders. That's a lot. Moreover, Wout has no fat reserve, so you can't get it there either, he explained. For now Van Aert can enjoy his and Jumbo-Visma's incredibly successful Tour de France. Is Wout capable of winning the Tour de France? Have your say in the comments. Like and subscribe for more.